What's up, YouTube? Today we are starting a new series on how to push every single brawler to 500 trophies in Duo Showdown. That's what I'm currently doing on my mini account. And I've got 18 out of 20 brawlers to 500 trophies there so far. And I've played every single match in Duo Showdown and with randoms, and it's a free-to-play account. So I've got some great tips for you guys, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 tips for Duo Showdown, and make sure to stick around for that last one because it's a good one. My first tip is a mistake I see people make a lot. They often don't do this, but it's really important. It's to save your elixir that's dropped on the ground for a respawning teammate. If you have a teammate that has died and an elixir from a box dropped on the ground or from a dead person, save that until your teammate respawns. That way both of you get that elixir. Now, if you're taking a lot of fire, if you're in a lot of heat and it's going to be really hard for you to stay alive and get that elixir, then go ahead, just get it first and just worry about staying alive. That's more important. You don't want to lose. But if your teammate is dead and you're able to if you're able to stay alive and not get that elixir, just wait. Wait for them to respawn, and that way you both get the elixir and you'll be better off for it. And while we're talking about respawning, time for tip number 2. Use that respawn invincibility. When a teammate respawns, they have 3 to 4 seconds of invincibility, so use that timer. If you're in a fight with another team and your teammate is already dead but they're about to respawn, use that timer. Bide your time until there's a couple seconds left, and then potentially, depending on what brawler you have and the brawlers your enemy has in the situation, but get closer to the enemy and allow your invincible teammate to do work. Now, of course, if it's a really dire situation, they're like a 12 elixir team, you're a 1 elixir team, it's not going to matter if your teammate's invincible or not, but it could still help you get out of that situation. So use that invincibility of your teammate to try and get kills, or at least push another team back and get you in a better situation. Now, tip number 3, on the flip side of the coin, you got to really beware an enemy team respawning. If they have an invincible teammate about to respawn, you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you're not careful. So one thing you really need to do is if an enemy team dies or a teammate dies, get that mental timer in your head. It's 15 seconds until someone respawns. Try and figure out how close they are to respawning. And if you think you see a lone brawler and you want to go after them, be careful about an enemy teammate respawning while you're doing so. You could potentially be thinking you have an easy kill, and then all of a sudden you're closing in on the kill and their teammate respawns invincible, and you are in a lot of trouble. So really beware and try and pay attention to if you think an enemy teammate is going to be respawning or not, and whether you should engage until after that or before. Tip number 4, if you're trying to push every brawler to 500 in Duo, well, you need good teammates. So you gotta find good teammates, especially if you're going in the 400 plus range. You really need good teammates to try and get that push. You want to try and find a good teammate to press play again with and just keep on going. Now, of course, there's 2 things that make up a good teammate, right? They either have just good skill, they're good at the game, or they also have a good brawler, a brawler that's good on the map, or just good in general. So try and find teammates who have at least one of those and keep playing again with them. And once you get a good teammate, you'll be a lot more consistent. Tip number 5, this is a really important tip for some of my next points, but also just in general. You always want to check the bushes in Duo Showdown. Whenever you're walking around the map, always be checking the bushes. If a team surprises you, you could be in a lot of trouble. You don't want to walk into an enemy tank just sitting in the bush. You will be dead. Even if you have better elixir than them, you could still easily be dead. So always check the bushes. Now, there's 2 main ways to move around the map in Duo Showdown. And the first one is tip number 6. First one is hiding. Now, hiding is a very important tactic in Duo Showdown sometimes. It's something you want to do in a couple situations. One, maybe you're just a really low elixir team. You got out, you didn't have a good box spawn, and you tried to get boxes early, but it just didn't work out. So you have really low elixir, maybe 1 or 0 elixir, your teammates die, whatever. It might be a good idea to just hide. The other situation is if there's a really high elixir team that's somewhat near you, and you do not want to run into that high elixir team, because even if you have a good matchup, it might not matter because they're just going to overpower you. Definitely consider hiding in Duo Showdown. There's definitely times where you just don't have good matchups, and you just want to wait for some teams to die down so you get a better placement at the least. You're taking less risk by hiding a little bit longer. Now, this next tactic, tip number 7, is my favorite one for Duo Showdown, and that's pushing a team into another team. This is really, really important in Duo Showdown. Now, the way you do this is what I call checking. A lot of times, you just find another team and you just want to take shots at them. You're not trying to be too aggressive. You're taking shots, and there's a couple of reasons for this. What you're trying to do is, one, you want to build up your super. It's always really good to have your super. It's going to get you in a better situation if a team just crashes in on you. Two, you want to try and push them into another team. This is a really good way to eliminate teams and get kills. You don't want to necessarily try and take on that team all by yourself. Now, if it's going really well, by all means, go ahead and do that. But at the least, you want to try and just push them. Just push them across the map. And if you can keep making them go around the map, eventually they're going to run into another team. And team fights is a good way to eliminate teams and get more elixir. So find a team and just take shots at them. Now, if you're really elixir, they're better elixir than you or better matchup, then maybe you just want to back away. But if it's a team you can just take shots at and not take too much risk, go ahead, take those shots, build up your super, and push them into another team. Now, going off that, and this is one of the most important tips in Duo Showdown, you don't want to be too aggressive. Duo Showdown is very much a survival game. It's not necessarily about who gets the most kills. It's about biding your time for the right moment and not being too aggressive throughout the match. If you're very aggressive early on in matches, you're going to get a lot more consistently worse placements. So try and bide your time for the right moment. Push a team into another. Get your elixir higher up, build your super up, and find good situations to make that push. If you're seeing a big multi-team fight, maybe go ahead and check it out, but that doesn't mean you have to go and get heavily involved in the center of it. Maybe you see that big team fight early on, and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm pushing this team, that team's almost dead, the other team is almost dead, and you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of elixir out of this, and I'm building up my super, and then all of a sudden, a fourth team comes in, and you are in a lot of trouble. So it's very important to be aware of your surroundings and not be too aggressive. Now for tip number 9, sometimes you're just in a dire situation. You're facing a really high elixir team or it just looks like certain death. Tip number 9 is split up. If you're in those situations, you and your teammate have no chance to survive. If you stay together, you're screwed. But what you want to try and do is split up. Best case scenario is both of those people go for just one of you. And then hopefully either you or your teammate, whoever they don't go for, is able to survive and just hide and bide their time until other teams end up dying and you get that better placement. You just want to try and split up and have them go for one of you. And yeah, one of you is going to die, but it's better than both of you dying. All right, now tip number 10, my last tip, and this one is really important for getting first place in Duo Showdown. Also, especially even if you don't have good elixir, and it's pay attention to the kill feed and how many teams are left. Paying attention to how many teams are left is really important early on, actually even mid-game as well. As you get higher up in trophies, you're going to notice there are going to be more teams alive later in the game. You might find yourself in a situation where you normally think there would be, 3 teams left, but as you get higher up in trophies, there's going to be more consistently 5 teams left. Even if there's a couple kills, you're going to find teams that just keep surviving. So you got to be really careful. Don't be too aggressive with too many teams left. But at the same time, pay attention to the kill feed. This is really important. There's a couple reasons. One is you want to see what brawlers are staying alive, what brawlers are getting kills. Maybe you see that there's a Spike or a Shelly that is getting a lot of kills, and you're thinking, okay, that team probably has high elixir. I'm consistently seeing this Spike getting kills. There's probably a team out there with a Spike that has really high elixir. Or maybe you're thinking, that's a brawler that really counters me. I want to stay away from that team. The other thing, it's really important for paying attention to the kill feed, is let's say there's 3 teams left. This is a really important situation for when there's 3 teams left and you see a kill on that kill feed. That means those 2 teams that are left are fighting right now. You want to go ahead and find those 2 teams that are fighting. If you're that 3rd team left, you want to go ahead and in on that situation. Those 2 teams are fighting, but you're at full health. You have you and your teammate. Hopefully you have a decent amount of elixir. Even if you don't, though, you can go in on those 2 last teams that are fighting, and they're going to have, hopefully, not full health, hopefully not full ammo, and that's going to be a really good situation for you. You want to take advantage of that. There's 3 teams left. You see a kill in that kill feed. Go find those other teams and try and take advantage of those teams being less health and use that to get higher elixir and push yourself into first place. All right, those are going to be my top 10 tips for Duo Showdown. I got an image up. If you want to give an image to your teammates or your guild mates on those 10 tips and tell them how to play Duo Showdown, take this image. I'll put a link to download it in the description. Guys, let me know, what were your favorite tips, or what tips did I not say that you would also recommend? All right, thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.